has agreed to a plea deal for manslaughter, early voting has started in Tom Green County, and a 3-car pileup stuffed up Sherwood Way. Those stories and more. I'm James Bellini, and this is Live. We'll get to the news in a minute, but first, Lipchip provides your barn with superior technology. Simply implant, scan, and unlock. Enjoy daily temperature checks, register for your next competition, and keep your Cognizant health certificates all in one easy place. Lipchip is based right here in San Angelo and is built by a family of horsemen rooted in West Texas. Now, on to the news. A former U.S. Marine has agreed to take a plea deal after he accidentally shot and killed his sister in San Angelo. 23-year-old Benjamin Ibarra was arrested on November 20th, 2023 after he conducted a mock clearing of his house after his friend handed him an AR-15. While going around the house, he pointed the rifle at a dark area of the room and pulled the trigger, discharging around and hitting his sister, 25-year-old Samantha Ibarra, in the chest. Ibarra and the other individuals in the house immediately performed life-saving measures and called for emergency services. Ibarra assumed the weapon was unloaded as it did not have a magazine in it at the time, but he also said he knew better because he cited his experience as a former member of the U.S. Marine Corps and stated that he, the victim, and another person had been at the gun range earlier that same day. Although the judge has yet to sign off on the deal, Ibarra agreed to 8 years deferred adjudication. Early voting has started in San Angelo, and the big race for the San Angeloans is the one for police chief. Current Police Chief Frank Carter has decided not to run for re-election, and 3 current San Angelo police officers have thrown their name into the ring. Those are Travis Griffith, Mike Hernandez, and Chis Cimino. Other important races to the surrounding area include the Cristobal bond. Cristobal ISD is trying to get $19 million bond passed that will be for a new middle school and also other renovations to the current school. And the Wall ISD school board race is on the ballot. 5 individuals, Crystal Braden, Kevin Ripple, Doug Wilde, Curtis Holtman, and Houston Guy are all running for 2 seats that are on the ballot. Did you know San Angelo Live has the best mobile app ever? It's on the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. So all iPhone and Android users can have the latest news stories sent directly to their phone. So go download it today. A 3-car pileup slowed traffic on Sherwood Way this afternoon. The crash occurred near the intersection of Sherwood Way and Buick Street, where a Cadillac failed to control speed and rear-ended a Chevy Malibu, which was pushed into a pickup truck. The driver of the Cadillac was taken to Shannon and will be interviewed before any citations are issued. No one else was injured in the crash. Into weather, right now it's a beautiful 77 degrees out, and the low drops to 55 tonight with increasing clouds. Tomorrow, the clouds shift away and give way to sunlight, and the high will be 86, and then tomorrow night the low will be 62. Things heat back up to 88 on Wednesday before clouds roll in over Wednesday night with a low of 68. The winds pick up on Thursday, and on Thursday night there's a 30% chance of thunderstorms. When we come back, sports analyst Chadwick talks ASU baseball, and then an interview with police chief candidate Chis Cimino. But first, a word from the Bass Bunch.
2024 means savings galore at Jim Bass Mazda. Why not drive off our lot in a new 2024 Mazda CX-5, priced right at just $29,999. While you're here, be sure to ask about our 1.9% APR for 72-month financing. This SUV offers a sculpted exterior with a sophisticated interior. Hurry, these are limited offers, and you can only get these deals at Jim Bass Mazda at the corner of Houston Hart at Arden Road, or shop 24/7 at bassbunch.com.
The number 23 Angelo State Rams baseball team split a Lone Star Conference series with St. Edwards and Austin over the weekend. The Rams dropped Game 1 before recovering to claim victory in Games 2 and 3. Unfortunately for the Rams, errors and mental mistakes doomed ASU in Game 4 as St. Edwards forced the series split. At the Janelle Center on Monday, Angelo State's assistant coach Adam Foster talked about the Rams' performance over the weekend before previewing what must be done this weekend against West Texas A&M on Friday. Let's take a look.
It's kind of a microcosm of the season. We've really beaten ourselves more than the opponents have beaten us. So, we're really trying to focus on playing clean baseball and start hitting our stride. Typically at the end of the season, this is when we start really getting better. So we're really looking for a good week of practice to put things together and play a little better than we played down in Austin.
So that was my next question. You host WT this weekend, and it's going to be one of those where you're going to have to be on your A game. Was the series last week a good reminder? Hey, we still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it's always, man, we're always trying to get better, every week. I think what was great about last weekend is we were in one-run games, and you don't get, sometimes you don't get a lot of those, and there's pressure in those, and we've got some guys that didn't play a lot last year. We got a couple freshmen, a couple young arms that are throwing for us, and they pitched and played in some pressure situations. So you can only grow from that and get better. WT's obviously number one in the conference. I think they're number 4 in the country. Their offense is really good. So it's really going to be a big test for us. Probably going to see them again in the conference tournament, and then also in regional. So it'll be a good measuring stick.
ASU hosts the LSC leading WT at Foster Field in San Angelo this weekend. Game 1 is scheduled for Friday with first pitch at 6:30 p.m. And for more sports around the Concho Valley and beyond, be sure to check in every day at sanangelolive.com/news/sports.
That's so gross.
Deep down, upholstered furniture is dirtier than it looks. Carpet Tech safely cleans all types of furniture and mattresses, killing germs and removing spots and odors. Right now, get 15% off upholstery cleaning from Carpet Tech. Call or schedule online at carpettech.com.
If your home is in a wreck, call Carpet Tech, yeah.
Well, if you've not been asleep for the last couple of weeks, you know that we have a police chief election. Election day is May 4th. And we have 3 candidates running, and I have today Chis Cimino, Lieutenant Chis Cimino, who is a candidate for police chief. I'll just start the questions off. You've been with the police department for what, 19 years?
19 years.
Give a little synopsis of your career and what you've done here in San Angelo.
So for the San Angelo Police Department, I started off on patrol like we all do. Became a field training officer, joined the honor guard. Which is where if there's a funeral or something like that, we go and honor our fallen. From there, I joined the narcotics unit, came back to patrol, then went to CID, came back to patrol, promoted to sergeant, took over as the canine unit supervisor.
Which is the dog.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
I had Vader. He was a terrific animal.
You had Vader?
Vader was mine. That was my baby.
He was the most famous of all the dogs
Well,
in my coverages. Vader was famous. Yeah.
He was. He did a lot of good work. After that, I promoted to lieutenant, started the anti-riot company, spent 6 months in a concrete box trying to fix policy. Didn't quite work out the way it needed to.
So what do you mean in a concrete box? Do you have like a SAGE building where it's like classified information? Or
No. On the back of records, there's 2 little offices where ACU and gang work now. Mm-hmm. One of those offices is mine. I was in there with every policy manual known to man and just trying to fix ours.
I mean, it's not a very large organization when you compare it to like you're a Marine, ex-Marine, right? I guess you're never an ex-Marine. It's kind of like you're never an ex-Aggie. You're either a former student or an Aggie, or you're like a Marine or a former Marine.
Right.
Are you really a former Marine, or are you always a Marine?
I think it depends on the Marine.
Anyway, it's not a large organization. So what kind of policies that is it just like the stack of paperwork is too high?
Way over 800 pages. There's bigger departments that have far smaller. Part of CCP, the Code of Criminal Procedures, is actually in our policy manual. Why is it there? I don't know.
So CCP would be state law?
It's the Code of Criminal Procedures.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that would be the state government supposed to take care of that.
Right. We already have the CCP in our penal code books. So why is it in our policy manual as well?
I see. So you're trying to streamline that?
I'm trying to.
So how if it was 800 pages, what did you get down to? 750?
No, it was smaller before I started, and then they just kept adding stuff.
Okay. So how much you could get down to?
How much can I get it down to?
Yeah.
I think I could get it down to 400 and some odd pages.
So you cut it in half?
Yeah, easily. There's stuff in there that isn't operational. You know what I mean? It's important for certain people to know. The average patrol officer doesn't need to know what an evidence tech does. I mean, that's not in their line of work. That's evidence tech's problem.
It sounds like a military. Like when I was in the military,
Yes.
right after Desert Storm, they decided they're going to cut all the regulations down to 1 page, right? So you would have like your operating manual for, the rules for operating an aircraft. It was like, maybe 150 pages, you know,
Right.
full of rules, you know, don't fly circling approaches at night. And they said, we can get down to 1 page. That lasted about a year. And then they blew up again.
Yeah, well, I don't like bureaucracy.
Don't like bureaucracy. All right, so you're down there tackling the bureaucracy problem. Then what'd you do next?
So after that, I finally got to go home to the patrol where I belong, and then started the anti-riot company, do all the nonsense going on in 2018. As far as I know, we're the only regional police department that has an anti-riot company.
So what is the is that what Frank Carter told me one time? I think it was during the 2020 riots. It wasn't really a riot; it was a protest, right? Against us. But anyway, he said, "Yeah, I got him on the other street." I mean, you know, he said, "I got him around the corner."
Yeah, we were activated a few times from 2018 to 2021. We actually got activated more during that time than SWAT did.
Wow, and it's because of all the protests and stuff that were happening.
You just gotta, like, if there's a big crime being tried at district court or something like that, and they're expecting there may be trouble, they'll go ahead, call us up. We'll sit in the briefing room down in the basement of the PD and stand by.
Wow.
So
you're there, and actually that would protect us because we're in there and probably in the courtroom reporting on it.
Yeah.
You know, one thing to say, you know, like in federal court in Lubbock, you can take your laptop, your cell phone, whatever, into the courtroom as long as you got it on silent, right? So you could actually take notes on your laptop in the federal court in Lubbock.
Nice.
And so I asked the courthouse guys. I said, you know, they're deputies that guard the courthouse. And I said, why can't we take our laptops into the courtroom? One of them was honest with me, because if you report from the courtroom, then we don't have enough time to respond to whatever happens because of the verdict.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
So that's why we're delayed out of the courtroom a lot of times. So anyway, running for police chief, what inspired you to run for police chief?
So I was looking at what the other candidates were saying and not saying, and I was like, they're not going to change anything. It's going to be status quo. It's going to be 2.0. Let's not do it again. We've been here. We've done that. We've got the T-shirts. We've got the scars. Let's do something different. Let's make sure everybody gets a chance to have the experience as a CID detective, narcotics detective, anti-crime unit, and put that out on the streets instead of keeping it all coalesced into one little unit where it doesn't really do that much good.
So what you're saying is you want better HR development, I guess human resources development of individual officers where they have greater, I guess, breadth of experience as opposed to depth of experience. So once you become a CID guy, you're a CID guy till you die, right?
Pretty much, unless you promote or get kicked out, which rarely happens.
Okay, so when CID's down a couple of man units, you don't have anyone to fill it in.
No.
So no one with experience from patrol.
There's a couple. I mean, you got Castro, you got Sircone, but they're so fed up with the bureaucracy and what's going on in CID, they don't want any part of it. They're like, I'm never going back.
And the bureaucracy is defined as too much paperwork and not enough investigating. What is it?
Right. It's just too many people up in your business while you're trying to do your job.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things CID does is they collect evidence for the trial.
They do.
Right? And
but patrol does it too.
Do they?
Yeah.
Several years ago, I was based on my reporting of trials. There was a kid who wasn't a kid. He's a 20-something-year-old guy. Left one of the restaurants a little tipsy, driving down the loop in front of the hotel row, ran over a girl who had special needs. And he was found innocent because they could not use the evidence from his cell phone because the cell phone sat on a desk of some police officer for 6 months.
Yep.
So how did that happen, and how would you prevent that from happening again?
It's very easy. We've already got all the policies and procedures in effect for how you treat evidence. That evidence the phone should have been turned off, should have been wrapped in foil, turned into evidence, and it sits there until the detective needs it again. Then you go check it out, do what you need to do. Once you're done with it, you check it back into evidence. It's very simple. It's not a hard process.
Right. Well, the defense attorney, to be fair, was able to finagle it, saying that the evidence is tainted, even though they'd already downloaded the phone, and so the evidence was actually ones and O's, bits on a disk as opposed to the phone. But I guess they could say, well, since the phone had been sitting out for so long on someone's desk, whatever came off of it is tainted.
Attorneys are going to do attorney things.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about, one of the problems we have in San Angelo right now, as far as crime goes, and its problem probably is, if we were talking about this 20 years ago, probably be saying the same thing. But narcotics.
Yes.
And you have a lot of experience with narcotics.
Not a lot, but yeah, I got plenty of experience.
But you've busted a lot of narcotics rings and that kind of stuff.
I helped. Yeah. I'm not going to take. My ego doesn't let me write that check.
You want okay? What kind of narcotics problems are we having right now?
So the price of narcotics has gone down. It's easier to get. More of it's coming across the border. And there's another interview. A lady asked me, well, does it just come straight from the border? And it doesn't. We were actually working with ICE agents where we would go to Dallas-Fort Worth and track it all the way back to San Angelo. So it doesn't just come straight to San Angelo.
So they're using like the major cities as hubs?
Yeah.
So kind of hub and spoke kind of thing?
Exactly. So they go up there, cut it down to whatever percent they want their dealers here to have, and they'll cut it down again. But they'll go up there, cut it, and then they'll mule it back down to San Angelo or wherever it's going.
When you say mule it down, is they like in a Volkswagen or something?
Sometimes.
Or Clint Eastwood?
Yeah, Chrysler 300s used to be real popular for it.
Really? Mm-hmm. Wow. So don't get a Chrysler 300, guys.
Well, it's a Chrysler anyway.
Might get pulled over. What kind of drugs are prevalent right now?
So you got your meth, and they're cutting meth with other substances right now.
Like fentanyl?
Yeah. And cocaine's on the. I've seen a lot more cocaine lately, and a lot more heroin.
I don't understand heroin. I mean, it sounds like it's too addictive and it's too hard to.
I don't like needles.
Yeah, I don't either. Why would I want to stick myself with a needle? I mean, you must be very desperate if you have to do that. I don't know. I don't get it. So the way narcotics are, if they're on the uptick, a lot of times you have people who are addicted, and they have to. I look at it this way: aren't most drug operations kind of like a multi-level marketing deal, where you have to sell some drugs to be able to pay for your habit?
Yeah. One of those pyramid schemes.
Yeah. Multi-level marketing, like Amway. Not. I don't know if Amway's around anymore. I don't want to get sued.
I doubt it.
But what kind of petty crimes or property crimes do you see? Or do you see them upticking or downticking?
Oh yeah, you got our burglaries for residences, our burglaries for cars, our burglaries for property, just across the board's going up. People got to feed the habit, so they'll steal stuff, pawn it off, or sell it to their friend. Construction crime. If a construction crew goes out, leaves their tools there.
Yeah.
They're going to be gone. They're going to be in somebody else's house by the end of the day. So,
do you think we have an uptrend right now in that kind of stuff?
We're seeing more of it because you got to feed the habit.
Right. So you're a police chief. You got a problem, and that's probably what most people see. They see property crimes. Right. So what's an idea to fix it?
So we got this anti-crime unit who can do amazing things if they were let off the hook. If they would just like, hey, you can go write your own warrants. If they would give them the power to actually prevent the crime, they could do it. But everything's so compartmentalized right now where only CID and narcotics can write search warrants. Let ACU guys do it. Sergeant Schultz, amazing sergeant, used to be in CID. He has the experience.
So a search warrant has to be signed by a judge.
Yes, sir.
JP or district judge.
Depending.
Is the reason why they're restricting that because the judges don't want to have a whole lot of warrants hitting them at once, or what's the
I don't know.
What's the upstream problem?
I'm not an admin, brother. I don't have the answer.
You don't have the answer to it. All right. So you have another unit that could go out there and work this.
That's why they exist. That's the whole reason they were built up, is to go out and do this, and they don't have the authority to do the things that they need to do to take care of the criminals.
So what are they doing instead?
Hunting warrants. For the last this Friday and Saturday, we didn't have enough officers signed up to work the rodeo and carnival, so they were detailed to go work the rodeo and carnival.
So usually when you're working a special event, you're hired off duty, right?
Yes, sir.
We don't have enough police officers or licensed law officers who want to work these special events anymore.
True.
And I think the problem is probably the pay.
Part of it. For me, it's not financially feasible at all because I make more hourly than I get paid to work a carnival or rodeo event. But again, these officers can work city overtime and make more than they could for, an off-duty event.
So they're costing the taxpayers a little bit more money for doing these special events if they're working on the clock.
On the clock. It costs the taxpayers more.
Right. All right, we talked about this during the San Angelo Live Police Chief debate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't really get the chance to go deep into it, but you're the cop's cop, so I wanted to ask you this 12-hour shift thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the issues I've heard with 12-hour shifts, and I know this because of crew rest and being an air crew member and stuff like that, 12 hours is a long ass time.
It can be.
Right? And so do you think there's safety issues with going 12-hour shifts?
I don't think so. I got 37 officers assigned to me that work,
The 12
shifts.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the K9 guys. They work 10s. But, yeah, it's better for morale. It helps out with their family. You get more time with your family. You really do. And we work overnight, so my boys stay busy. I mean, if you look at the breakdown of each individual shift, my boys stay real busy.
Okay. And when's your shift?
I work Charles and Edward Company.
And that's at night, right?
Yeah, I work from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., and they work from 3 to 3 and from 6 to 6. So.
All right, so what does Chis Cimino like to do in his off time?
I like to garden.
You're a gardener?
I do.
All right, so tomatoes?
Tomatoes, jalapenos. I got these Israeli melons that are freaking delicious. I still got spinach from my fall garden that's blooming again. So, yeah, I like to garden, man. I like to garden. I like to read. I like to putter around in my shop and make things that I'll never...
What do you like to read?
I like science fiction.
Do you really?
I really do. And I like historical, and they have this alternative history, like what if Nazi Germany would have won?
Right.
Yeah, those are fascinating.
What if I didn't kill? What if I killed baby Hitler?
Right. Yeah. Stuff like that. just like what if happened if the Germans have really gone to Argentina and started up.
What's the most recent history book you recall reading? Or
I'm still reading it. It's my kids got it for me for Hanukkah last year, and I still haven't finished it. Sorry, kids. It's called Texican. It's like it's difficult to explain. It's the Texan version of the Odyssey.
Okay.
So it's written in that format. It's really interesting.
So like the Iliad and the Odyssey kind of thing?
It's something like that.
Okay.
It's good.
I'm reading a Texas history book.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm audibling it because I have a long drive home, so I listen to it on Audible. But I'm learning an alternative history. I mean, it's a piece of history you didn't hear about, like all the events leading up to the 1836 Revolution.
Okay.
So I think I find history just fascinating.
Oh yeah.
And we both read The Old Breed, right?
Good book.
And since you're a Marine and you're an infantry guy, right?
Infantry.
You can like identify with it better than I can because I'm an Air Force guy.
The men and women who fought in World War II are amazing.
I mean, I don't know if you read it. What's the author's name?
I couldn't tell you. It's in my bookshelf at home.
He's a gunny sergeant,
and
he passed away like in 2002. But this it's called The Old Breed, and he talks about going to Peleliu and going up in a three man teams. You had a mortar guy, a medic, and an infantry, and you had to go up. All these little teams are going up with the Japanese shooting down at them.
Yeah.
And it's just incredible what they went through.
That island hopping campaign was no joke. I mean, they did some work.
Yeah, they did, absolutely. All right, so what's the first thing you're going to do when you become police chief?
Let me see. Well, we are going to me and the command staff and whoever my assistant chiefs are going to be, going to sit down and have a very long meeting about how things are going to change. Because we're not going to have people in CID and narcotics for the rest of their lives anymore. It's going to be a rotating position.
Okay.
That's priority number one. We're also going to get with City Legal and start working on our policy manual. We have a very good lieutenant that's assigned to admin right now that it would be perfect for that. He's very detail oriented, and that's what that position needs.
What about budgets?
Budgets? Well, so I'm very good with money.
Mm-hmm.
I had my house paid off, all my cars paid off in 17 years. I'm debt free, 100% debt free. I don't owe anybody anything.
You need to start yourself a YouTube channel.
No, I think Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
Ramsay already's got that taken care of.
Yeah. Okay. So you think you can run it efficiently?
Oh yeah, easily.
Because right now it's $25 million,
Mm-hmm.
and the biggest expense is payroll,
right.
Obviously. Police pay, I don't think is going to go down because we're dealing in market forces, not just in San Angelo, but they can, DPS can take our guys,
Mm-hmm.
Fort Worth Police Department can take our guys, what have you.
Yep.
So you kind of explain how you're going to keep them here. Your opponent said, I can do it if I can just get 85% of our sister cities on pay.
Right. And one of the secrets is people aren't just leaving because of the money. They're leaving because there's no movement within the department.
So
there's no way to go. There's nothing else to do.
So you can't move up from you. If you're a sergeant and you're doing a good job, there's no incentive to get promoted to lieutenant.
There's monetary value, but I mean,
or let me say it another way. Are there enough lieutenant slots coming open for the up and coming guys to?
We got a lot of young lieutenants. You got me, Lieutenant Thomason, and Adam Scott. I mean, we're relatively young lieutenants.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going anywhere for a while yet, but it's not really so much for your commanders and your sergeants. It's for the officers. I mean, they're stuck. They can't go to CID because somebody got their butt stuck in this chair for 20 years.
So it's not rank; it's job. It's
right.
It's job duties.
These officers want to get this experience. They want to know how to do all the different things in law enforcement, and they just can't because people won't leave. They get stuck there. Like, I'm happy.
Well, like the military has the upper out system, right?
Yeah.
So and when you got in, you went in as an infantryman,
mm-hmm.
but I'm sure there were sub specialties you could go into.
Right. I mean, your basic infantryman in the Marine Corps is an 0311. I was an 0351, which is a demolition anti-tank assaultman, which I was an 0311 with a rocket launcher and a bag of C4.
But after 3 years, you could probably move into something else if you stayed in for your. Did you stay in full? You didn't stay for full 20, did you?
No, I just did 4. And all my friends that were married in the Marine Corps ended up divorced, or so I was like, I want to marry this woman because she was my high school sweetheart, and I was like, it's not going to work. So I did my 4 and
got out.
Went to college.
Yeah. What'd you major in?
Anthropology.
Anthropology?
I wanted to be an archaeologist.
You wanted to go dig stuff up in the Middle East, didn't you?
No, mostly in the Mesoamerican area, around Incans and Mayans, Aztecs, Mextecs.
Central America.
Yeah.
You like that stuff?
Love it.
Wow.
Fascinating.
History buff.
Mm-hmm.
Chis Cimino, the history buff police chief.
That's true.
That's good. That's good. Any history lessons for the police department?
We don't have a history in the police department, which is crazy. It's something I've talked about for a while now, is actually having that part of the academy is like, hey, these are the people that came before you. Sort of like the military does. You know, you guys have your Air Force heroes. We have our Marine Corps heroes. And we have our police
your Douglas
heroes.
MacArthurs. You got your George Pattons. You got your
Chesty Puller.
William Tecumseh Sherman.
Right. You have all these heroes, and we have them here too. But the officers aren't taught that in the academy. They don't know that there used to be a red light on top of the cactus. And if you saw that, that was saying there's a call pending. You need to get to a payphone, call dispatch, and find out what's going on. They don't know the history of the department. So when you build a history, it gives a little bit of like, I'm part of that now, you know?
Right.
You see your heroes. You get to be a part of it.
You enhance the fraternity.
Exactly. And right now we don't have that.
Okay. So that would be like a training thing, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Back of the when they're going through their, what is it? Is it a year of training?
It's close to it, if you count in the PTO time and all that.
What about recruiting?
So we have a couple of recruiters, and we don't really send them to state events. They stay pretty local.
What do you mean state events?
So we have these hiring fairs at like Texas Tech and all these things across the state that we could send them to. We just don't because it's expensive.
So spend a little money on recruiting.
Spend a little money.
Yeah. Go to the colleges.
Yes, go to the colleges. I mean, you don't have to hit them up in grade school like somebody said. That's crazy. They don't know what I didn't know what I wanted
McDuff,
to do in grade school.
The crime dog, though.
That thing was a joke.
You are the cop's cop.
It was McGruff. McGruff, not McDuff. You're thinking about Simpsons.
Well, I get them all mixed up.
Man.
That's how stupid it was.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. No, but start in high schools. I mean, colleges, job fairs. I mean, there's all these different things around the city, around the state that we can send them to. It's like, hey, go try this. Don't be afraid to experiment.
You chose to move to San Angelo. What brought you here? A woman?
No. Me and my wife were already married. We got married in Lubbock. No, I graduated college and I had a pink slip from the Border Patrol and I was waiting for my academy date. But that was in 2004 and 2005 when there was a hiring freeze.
Right.
So I'm sitting there waiting and waiting. So I ended up becoming an electrician with Sohal Electric. Great man. I really liked Ron Sohal. And I got tired of waiting. And so I went to the Army recruiter. His name was Sergeant Crapper. Not a joke.
Sergeant Crapper.
Yeah, and I'd signed up for the warrant officer flight training. I was going to fly helos.
Right.
And then Pam and I, my wife and I started talking. It's like, if you join the Army, they're going to tell us where we have to live. It's like, you're right. And we want to stay in Texas. We love it here.
Right.
And
so you're in Lubbock when this is happening?
No, we're here.
You're here?
We're here.
Well, what brought you here? Was an electrician?
No. We had just sold our house, and we were looking to just be here for a couple of months. So we stayed up with her parents out in Dove Creek. And while I was waiting for that pink slip, or for my academy date with the Border Patrol to go through.
You know who else lives in Dove Creek? Blaine Martin lived in Dove Creek.
Oh. Yeah.
I live there too, so that's all right. But
yeah, I was a heartbeat away from joining the Army and flying helicopters until this came up, and it's like, let's just go be a local cop.
And you enjoyed it?
I like it. I've had a lot of fun here. A lot of adventures.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, it's Chis Cimino. He's running for police chief. The election day is May 4th. Early voting is ongoing. It started today. Today is actually April 22nd. And it goes on for a couple weeks, right? Up until
I think the 28th is they cut it there, and then you have to go and vote on May 4th.
Someone's going to comment on this. Say Joe needs to go memorize when early voting is, because I just can't remember the dates.
It's on the website.
Yeah, it's on the website. Go check it out. What is your website?
Oh, it's www.chiminoforchief.com. So if you haven't taken the chance to go and look, go look. There's a lot of information on there.
And when you say Chimino, it's C-I.
Yes, it's C-I. It's one of those weird Italian spellings you don't see much.
C-I-M-I-N-O.
That's it.
All right. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome,
we appreciate it. Now back to you guys.
It's hard to believe how reckless some people can be and how hard they fight against real victims. You need a partner who consistently beats the giants and who will never, ever flinch.
When it comes to unique pieces you can't find anywhere else, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is your one-stop shop. With over 24 years in the diamond and coin industry, Kano's Diamonds and Coins is West Texas's choice for diamonds, jewelry, coins, silver, and gold. Owner Bill Kano stands by his work and offers free consultations, including estate jewelry. Don't just trust anyone with your valuables. Come see the staff at Kano's at 1016 West Beauregard in San Angelo.
Thanks for watching the Live Daily News Show, the only locally owned news show in the Concho Valley. Go like us on X, Facebook, and other social media platforms, and download the San Angelo Live app to stay up to date on all the news from in and around the Concho Valley. Thanks again, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.